Good evening. Today we are going to see theory part of gantry girder. So we have this as gantry girder, and you can see the different parts which are relate with this gantry girder. So mainly on gantry girder, crane will move, and we have two types of crane. One that is electric operated crane, and second we have that is hand operated. So these are overhead cranes, and these cranes are generally required to transfer the heavy material from one place to another place. Now you can have this diagram, and in this diagram you can see the different parts which are related with this gantry girder. So now in this, if we will see, we are interested with this actually, that is this gantry girder. So you can see this. We have to design this gantry girder. On this gantry girder, you can see this runway rail. This is main one. Then you can have this crab, or you can say as a trolley frame. Then we have motor over here, and then this crab that is going to be move on this crane girder. So these are crane girders, these two are crane girders. On these crane girders your trolley is moving, and then these trolley moving on these crane girders, and these crane girders we have wheels, four wheels. We have one wheel under this crane girder, second under this, third under this, and fourth under this, and these four wheels of these are moving on this run runway rail. On this is runway rail. So the load is transferred from this crab and weight carried on this gantry girder. Now we have hook approach, so we have some distance till which we can take this crab, and till this we can go for this one, and that will gives me maximum value of wheel load. So for maximum value of wheel load, we have to put this crane crab at hook approach from the gantry girder, and then the rain will move, your crane will move on this one. So try to understand this. Crab will move on this crane girder, and these crane girders are going to move on this gantry girder. We are interested to design gantry girders. Now gantry girders are designed as laterally unsupported beam. So this is again most important one. Then loads to be considered on gantry girders. So which are the loads? So vertical loads which are from crane, that is self weight of crane. Then crane girder. So this from crane means whatever load we are going to lift up. So lifted load. Then we have self weight of crane girder. So this is self weight. Then crab, etc. Then impact loads from crane. So whatever load we are going to have from this, we are going to consider for electric overhead cranes 25% of maximum static load. So static load we are going to get from step 1. So whatever vertical load we are going to say, that is our static load, and that we are going to consider 25% as impact load for electric overhead crane, and hand operated we have 10% of maximum static load. Then we have longitudinal loads from crane which is along the rail. So whenever we are going to stop it, suddenly stop, then we are going to get longitudinal loads. One will be along the rail, and another will be perpendicular to the rail. So these two longitudinal loads will be there when we will suddenly stop the crane, or if your load which we are going to carry, that is going to be suddenly disturbed. In that case also we are going to get these longitudinal loads. Then these longitudinal loads 5% of maximum static load. Then lateral thrust across the crane rail, and that we require actually for MYY value, from which we are going to determine moment along y direction. And this value, if you will see, we have this as 10% of weight of crab and weight lifted by crane. So only two loads. One is weight of crab and another is weight lifted by crane. Because due to these only, these longitudinal loads will be mm, longitudinal load perpendicular to the crane that will be developed, and that will be 5% of the weight of crab plus weight lifted by crane. Then what are, so these are the loads. Then we now going to see the different steps which are involved in design of gantry girder. So first we have maximum wheel load is calculated. Now second we have shear force and bending moment. Third, now we will go with first maximum wheel load. So for maximum wheel load, already I mentioned one of the wheel load should be placed at hook approach. Hook approach means we have lattice gantry girder on this side, and at some distance we have stopper, and your crab will go till this portion only. So here we have actually electric wires and all these when we have electrically operated crane. So beyond this, your crab will not be allowed to move. And therefore, this we are going to say from center, this as hook approach. Means hook can approach till this point only. And from this, we are going to calculate the maximum wheel load. So you can see this distance between wheel loads. And then we have this will be hook approach till which we can take these wheel loads. From this, we are going to calculate maximum wheel load. So this is most important condition from which we are going to get maximum wheel load. That may be on this side. If you will take this hook approach on right side, then we are going to get this will be maximum wheel load. So RA and RB. Now maximum wheel load equal to reaction at A, which will be equal to RA. Now maximum shear force and bending moment. So this is to get maximum wheel load, which will be of crane girder. So we have these four wheels to the crane girders, and that value we are going to get, that is wheel from crane and crane girders. Now this wheel load we have, that is on gantry girder, and we have to keep one of the wheel on the support and other will be at a distance of wheel load from support, and that will gives me maximum shear force. Means from this we are going to get this reaction as maximum reaction, and this maximum reaction will be shear force. Then we have maximum bending moment. For maximum bending moment, this is most important. Now you have to keep in mind, that is one of the wheel load and CG of the wheel loads should be equidistant from the center of span. So this statement plays very important role when we are going to determine the maximum bending moment. Now you can see this. We have this as span of gantry girder. Then we have this will be wheel loads and distance between wheel loads. So we have L by 2. So now we have center of this gantry girder will be at this point. So we have center over here. And now we have one of the wheel load and CG. So this is one of the wheel load. So we have this as one of the wheel load and CG should be equidistant. So one of the wheel load means now here we have considered this wheel load. So we have this will be equal distance, means we have this will be L by 2 till this, and these two are equidistant. If I will say we have this distance as D, then I have this distance from center as D by 4, and we have this also as D by 4. So this is my center. So this is because we have equal wheel load. So my this resultant will be at center, means I have this as D by 2. And CG of the wheel load. So this resultant will act at CG. So CG of the wheel load and one of the wheel. So this is one of the wheel and this is CG. Should be equidistant from the center. So equidistance means we have D by 2, so half D by 4 and D by 4. And we are going to get maximum bending moment under this wheel load. And that we have to use to determine the sections. Then section modulus required same we have, that is for laterally unsupported beam 1.4 mfy upon gamma mo. Then we have selection of section. So we have depth of section as span by 12 to span by 15, and from this we will get depth of I section. Now, generally, I section and on compression flange, channel section is preferred as shown in below. Now, we do not have only I section, we have I section along with channel section, which is on compression side. Now, we are going to get two advantages of it. First, we have neutral axis is shifted upwards, and so that section modulus on compression side increases. So now you can see, as we are going to provide channel section, so that my neutral axis for beam is here, and then now for whole section we have neutral axis over here. So this neutral axis is for whole section, and automatically what will happen, so my z top, which will be my z compression, this will be I by y top. And now as my neutral axis is shifted upward, so my y top is less, and I am going to get value of z top or zc, that is large one. And that due to this one, my whatever stresses are on compression side, these stresses can be within limit due to external loads. And as we have longitudinal loads over here, and due to that one, stresses will be developed on compression flange. So we have larger stresses due to crane and crane girders, and that we can accommodate by increasing value of z compression. And second, we have greater width will be available. So we have greater width will be available due to channel section, which can satisfy the requirement for movement of crane. So crane, we have to provide a crane rail and all related component to that crane rail, and that we can have satisfied by this channel section. So these two advantages we have when we will go with channel section. Then we have to classify this section according to table 2. Then we have moment of resistance, same beta b, zp, fbd. Then check for biaxial bending. So we have MD, we can find beta B, ZYT, Fy upon gamma MO. And then from this, so this MD, so we can have MDY, I can say. MD already we have calculated, this will be MDZ, and this will be MDY. So knowing MDY, MDZ, this MY we are going to calculate, that is due to transverse load, longitudinal direction, and that will gives me my mz. Already we can have maximum bending moment, we have that resultant and one of the wheel equidistant from central span, that will gives me value of mz, and from this we have to see this will be less than or equal to 1, and this will be my check for biaxial bending. So these are the steps which are related with gantry girders. So thank you. Today we will stop here only.